world. Stories topping the news this afternoon: Liberia National Police brutalizes members of the pro-Kofa bloc during breakaway majority bloc 2025 draft national budget hearing. LNP arrests several others, including Monserrado District and Representative Chief of Office Staff. National Muslim Council of Liberia receives $400,000 from the Qatari government to extend council's headquarters in an Islamic and English university in Liberia. Former Liberian President George Weah congratulates President-elect John Mahama on his victory in the recent presidential and parliamentary elections in Ghana. And away from home, Ghana's Vice President Mohamedou Bawumia has accepted defeat in Saturday's elections, congratulates the opposition candidate, former President John Mahama, on his victory. We take a break to be back with voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Officers of the Liberia National Police and some members of the House of Representatives were seen in a severe clash on the grounds of the Capitol building. The clash was as a result of the police preventing the members of the pro-Kofa bloc from entering the Capitol building. At least Monserrado County District 10 Representative Yeke Koluba and others have been severely flogged by officers of the Liberia National Police. On this development, we will speak with Bapolo County District 2 Representative Luther Tape, who was also part of the clashes between members of the pro-Kofa bloc and the Liberia National Police. Good afternoon, Representative Luther Collins. Honorable Collins, are you there?
I'm here at the hospital of Dr. Jala, that is Women of Hope Hospital.
Okay. So this is a concerning issue. This morning, activities that happen up Capitol building, and you're one person who is said to have been part of what took place this morning. What exactly happened?
What happened is unfortunate. To see that lawmaker will be marched into the Liberian National Police. Taking sir, we have all the Capitol building and reach out to our very common father with a heavy tent. In fact, what the few cars while we were, they came with few cars as being escorted to, start the budget hearing process. So why we were trying to see whether we could also be part of the process. The police began to use tear gas, teaser, and baton. And as I'm speaking to you right now, I was greatly wounded through the forceful use of baton. And that is why I'm at the Women of Hope Hospital trying to take medication. But it's unfortunate to see that the executive will give direct mandate to the Liberian National Police to brutalize lawmakers. I just can't believe what I saw today. I can't believe what is going on. I don't know which country we are in. They have not only tried to downplay the court ruling, But marching into the Capitol building, can you imagine? You term something as political, and then you march into lawmaker offices and beat them up, whatever way you want. And that is the situation we are currently undergoing.
So,
I'm wounded, office staff, and by the grace of God, Dr. Jala is trying her best to see how she can treat us.
so, Representative Collins, can you be precise, if that is to your knowledge, as to how many persons got wounded in the process, basically lawmakers?
Well, because I have left the place, but I was there when one of the minister from finance, a lady that came, and other lawmakers from the majority bloc tried to enter, and then one of our colleagues, Jacob Debbie, tried to enter, and he was prevented, and the police shot him in the front, in his chest, and tore his clothes and denied him from entering Thomas Fowler's office. So this is the kind of budget hearing that is going on. This is the first time in the history we're having budget hearing where even the public can be invited to take part. But it is surprising. And yesterday, they take it as a political issue.
So there are also reports that workers of your offices were also arrested in the process. How true is that information?
Come again?
There is a report that some workers from your offices, not you particularly, but from other offices of your colleagues, particularly those who are considered members of the pro-Kofa bloc, were also arrested in the process.
Well, like I said, the whole place was somehow chaotic this morning. Before I left from there, the entire place was chaotic. So, I mean, the police were all over and they were escorting ministers in one at a time.
Okay.
So, I did my office staff. So we just came and sat under the flagpole, and where I called my driver to take him to the hospital where I am currently.
So before we leave you, is there any other thing you want to talk about? Then we can leave you. In relation to
come on again, I didn't get you clear.
Yeah, I said, is there any other thing you want to talk about in relation to this morning clashes?
Well, I just want the Liberian people to know. If they will not know now, they will get to know the reason for which these things are happening. I've said it repeatedly that certain group of people are fighting to get the financial arm of this country, so there can be no check and balance. Whatever they want to do with money, they do it and they go away. Because if I'm the minister of finance and I made my daughter as my personal confidant, so you can just imagine someone as deputy and employ all of my family, you will know what would be going on. And that is exactly. So this thing is not about COFA. Maybe people just, using COFA, but it is not about about COFA. For the time that we've been in there, we know exactly what has been going on and what they decide to continue with. And this is why we try not to accept. So we are fighting for the Liberian people. But because the executive is heavily, then of course, you will know what happened. Money is being played in this entire thing. Nobody can tell you that they are not paying money to get the thing the way how it is. I think the police, if the police came to protect life and property, they should be there for all of us. But how can the police leave from the vicinity of the ground outside of the capital and start to enter lawmaker offices? Can you imagine that? And they do it with P&D, with no remorse. With no remorse. Where is the justice minister? Where is the justice minister? Since this thing started, President Boga has said nothing. And you guys are telling you over and over again that nothing will come from other what they are doing. So I'm only sorry for Liberia. I'm sorry for the Liberian people. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much, Representative Luther Collins. It was good talking to you. So he's Representative Luther Collins, Bapolo County District 2 representative, one of those representatives who were brutalized earlier on today by the Liberia National Police on the grounds of the Capitol building. The head of the Economic Freedom Fighter of Liberia, Emmanuel Gonko, has turned the Supreme Court ruling into the saga at the House of Representatives as chaotic and an injustice to the Liberian people. Speaking with journalists on Saturday in Monrovia, Gonko noted that the Supreme Court of Liberia missed out on an opportunity to prevent the country from further constitutional crisis, noting that the EFF believes that the Supreme Court did set the precedent concerning constructional matter.
The Supreme Court did not offer any substantial ruling. The Supreme Court presented itself as coward or cowardly in the ruling on yesterday. They mixed out on opportunity to prevent the country from going into full-on constitutional crisis. They exacerbated the crisis by the quote-unquote ruling they came up with yesterday. So from us, from the perspective of the EFL, we believe that the Supreme Court did not do justice to the Liberian people. The Supreme Court did not offer any new precedent that, even the law school, as I said on my Facebook page, that the law school will use in many other rulings in the future. We have had a situation where in the legislature, people usually express dissatisfaction about the leadership of a particular speaker and they have the intention to remove that speaker. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court gets involved, but then can't come up with substantial ruling. So we have had no case precedent where, in the future, we can be able to render our judgment on account of the Supreme Court ruling. So yesterday was a missed opportunity once again. We have thought that the Supreme Court would be definite and set clear precedents. But if you say ultra virus, without being specific as to whether the majority black is acting unconstitutional or the minority black is also acting unconstitutional, you just say ultra virus without being so specific.
Meanwhile, calling on the Supreme Court of Liberia to be clear in their ruling as a means of avoiding further stalemate in the future.
Well, I think the Supreme Court did not went forward to explain the Supreme Court Constitution, which talk about numbers. In legislative politics globally, it's all about numbers. So you redefine quorum and confirm that the majority black truly do have a quorum. So it means that they can do business and they can be presided over, by the deputy speaker. So why if the majority black reconvene on Tuesday and say, because we have the deputy speaker, and we have the number, we can proceed to do business. You have created room for the executive now to penetrate and for the executive to make decisions in the affairs of the legislature, because the executive now, based on the Supreme Court ruling, the executive will say, look, the Supreme Court have said that, once you have 37 members and you have, the deputy speaker presiding, you can do business. So the executive will soon start sending almost all the communication of companies.
He's the head of the Economic Freedom Fighter of Liberia, Emmanuel Gonko. A reminder, you listen to King's News Broom, 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Stories to follow in this afternoon. Liberia National Police brutalizes members of pro-Kofa bloc during breakaway majority bloc 2025 draft national budget hearing. LNP arrests several others, including Monserrado County District 10 Representative, Chief of Office Staff. National Muslim Council of Liberia receives $400,000 from the Qatari government to extend council's headquarters in an Islamic and English university in Liberia. Also in the news, former Liberian President George Weah congratulates President-elect John Mahama on his victory in the recent presidential and parliamentary elections in Ghana. Away from Liberia, Ghana's Vice President Mahamadou Bawumia has accepted defeat in Saturday's election. Congratulates the opposition candidate, former President John Mahama, on his victory. We'll take a break to be back with voices. Welcome back and thanks for being here. The National Food Assistance Agency has begun the distribution of food items to several disadvantaged and less fortunate institutions and organizations in Monrovia and its environs. As part of the distribution, the National Food Assistance Agency during the weekend took several bags of rice, bread, and vegetable oils, plantains, and bags of gari, carton of sardine to the Center for Rehabilitation and Reintegration located in Painesville. Speaking during a presentation, NAFA's Director General Bouakar Salif thanked the institutions that assisted his agency in putting smile on the faces of the disadvantaged and less fortunate people in the country.
We are here today as an arm of government responsible for humanitarian services. The National Food Assistance Agency, almost everything we brought here, the major things, the plantain, the rice, the gari, the oil, the water, they are all Liberians. Our aim is twofold. One is to help the vulnerable people. The second one is to help local farmers. We're like twin mother. We're there helping the vulnerable people and helping the farmers, the Liberian farmers. Because as they produce, they need to get it to move somewhere. All us here eat plantain at home. We eat quesao. We eat edo. So why can't we help our brothers and sisters? Even though we say rice is our favorite food, but we want rice, but we want quesao. We want plantain. But we are here and we're thankful to him that he brought our sisters and our brothers in and our grandchildren. So we are happy that we're able to associate with to bring help. So we are here today to.
The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission on Friday, December 6, celebrated 2024 International Anti-Corruption Day at the Monrovia City Hall aimed at carrying out awareness to minimize corruption. Giving the overview of the program commemorating the 2024 International Anti-Corruption Day, the Vice Executive Chairperson of the LACC, Ernest Hodges, disclosed that the effect of corruption is contagious with a global reach that impacts all countries, noting that it ranks among the top 3 global problems in the world.
Corruption manifests itself in many forms: bribery, where you bribe somebody to get a favor or a contract; influence peddling; embezzlement, where you actually just go and say, you know, I can steal the money; theft; extortion; and large-scale stealing of public funds, as well as diversion of public goods to personal use. And this is something that all of us, how do you call it, corporates for that. For example, when we go to work, we got a stationery that they gave us to do the government job. We take it, we say, oh, I want carry someone to my children because of the school. That corruption. Don't see it like that corruption. Corruption effect is contagious with a global reach that impacts all countries, regardless of the country's status or position in the global economy. Anywhere in the world you go, corruption is there and it's happening. Corruption, in fact, as a matter of fact, it ranks among the top 3 global problems overall, behind only poverty and unemployment. And if I were to make my own assumption, I'm saying corruption is number 1. And the reason why I say that, because of corruption, that's why we have poverty and unemployment. Because if those resources were...
Meanwhile, delivering the official anti-corruption day message, the executive chairperson of LACC, Alexandra Zoe, disclosed that this year's celebration sought to include young people who are future leaders of Liberia.
Prior to 2024, adult anti-corruption actors and stakeholders had largely excluded youth. The second one is that young people have all along charted their own anti-corruption campaigns with all adults or with limited interest, support, and participation of adults as state and non-state actors. The third one is that there is a recognition of a potential integrity gap for future leaders And the fourth one is, most importantly, there is a realization of dereliction of duty by this generation of leaders to emerging leaders to accompany us on this momentous journey of integrity-based leadership. In this regards, ladies and gentlemen, I recommend we employ mentorship.
Executive Chairperson of the LACC, Alexandra Zoe, you heard the voice of Ernest Hodges, the Vice Executive Chairperson of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. The National Muslim Council of Liberia has reportedly received $400,000 from the Qatari government for the extension and renovation of the council's headquarters and the opening of an Islamic and English university in Liberia. Speaking in an interview with the station during the weekend, Kuku Reeves said an ad hoc committee is currently working behind the document for the establishment of the university.
New leadership, that leadership were able to go out and solicit help from partners, and were able to have a very successful meeting with Qatari. This project is being done under the Qatari leadership, the Qatari government, embassy in Liberia, and this project worth $400,000. As you can see, the work is ongoing. It started some 4 months back, and they are now doing the painting, doing some layout. They have completed the annex. It is fully now in use, but we are keeping it until we can get ready for the dedication. If you look at the annex is an administrative building. That administrative building will be used by the president of the university. The university will get to the name, but for now it's not so important because the official legal work is still ongoing, and they have not completed on that yet. So until then, we cannot officially, give the name of the university. But we know that between now to next year September, we will have a university for the Muslims in Liberia. We'll get students from other institutions. Students will troop in because there is a new university, and it will not only be restricted to Islam. It will be a secular institution. It will be teaching both Islam and also teaching English. Where we have a lot of doctorate degree holders, they are here. In fact, they surpass the mark. Some of them now, they are even coming now to see as to whether how they can find their way through. Some of them have tried to start writing letters, trying to see as to whether how they can form part of the process. In fact, they have had some meetings because we have an ad hoc committee responsible for the ad hoc committee is working. They are putting on all of their legal documentation to make sure that between now to next year September, you can have the Islamic University open for Liberia.
Briefly away from Liberia, Ghana's Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia has accepted defeat in Saturday's election and congratulated the opposition candidate, former President John Mahama, on his victory. The elections come amid the country's worst economic crisis in a generation. We saw the cost of basic goods shot up, while young people struggled to get jobs and the country was unable to repay its debts. Despite Bawumia's concession, no official results have been declared. The Electoral Commission said results have been delayed because supporters of the two main parties were impeding the process, and they had asked the police to clear the collation centers. Well, on that note, that's how we come to a near end of this edition of King's News Broom. But before we leave you, a quick reminder of stories we followed in the headlines. Liberia National Police brutalizes members of the pro-Kofa bloc during breakaway majority bloc 2025 draft national budget hearing. LNP arrests several others, including Monserrado County District 10 Representative Yeke Koluba, Chief of Office Staff. National Muslim Council of Liberia receives $400,000 from the Qatari government to extend council's headquarters and an Islamic and English university in Liberia. You also heard in the news former Liberian President George Weah congratulates President-elect John Mahama on his victory in the recent presidential and parliamentary elections in Ghana. Away from Liberia, Ghana's Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia has accepted defeat in Saturday's election. Congratulates the opposition candidate, former President John Mahama, on his victory. Many thanks to our reporters, correspondents, all those who helped making this edition of King's News Beyond the Sources. Sam Andrews brought you the news bulletin. Otis Sanka sat at controls and handled the technical aspect of this production. On behalf of the team, I'm Sherman Deer. I presented. Thanks for listening and watching.